And it's a relief also to be back in Africa and be with all of you. So without further delay, so I would just like to introduce the verse that I thought of reading in regard to the holy name. So this is from First Canto Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 8, verse number 36, which forms the part of the prayers by Queen Kundi. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 8, text number 36. Shinvati Gandhi Abhikshta Smaranti Nandan Tavehitam Janaha Daeva Pasandi Achirena Tavakam Bhava Param Bhava Padam Bhujam. Translation. O Krishna, those who continuously hear, chant, and repeat your transcendental activities or take pleasure in doing so, certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. Purport by Sri Prabhupada. The Supreme Lord Sri Krishna cannot be seen by our present conditional vision. In order to see him, one has to change his present vision by developing a different condition of life, of spontaneous love of Godhead. When Sri Krishna was personally present on the surface of the globe, not everyone could see him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Materialists like Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, Jarasandha, and Shishupal were highly qualified personalities by acquisition of material assets, but they were unable to appreciate the presence of the Lord. Therefore, even though the Lord may be present before our eyes, it is not possible to see him unless we have necessary vision. This necessary qualification is developed by the process of devotional service, beginning with hearing about the Lord from the right sources. The Bhagavad Gita is one of the popular literatures which are generally heard, chanted, repeated, etc., by the people in general. But in spite of such hearing, etc., sometimes it is experienced that the performer of such devotional service does not see the Lord face to face. The reason is that the first item, Shravanam, is very important. If hearing is from the right sources, it acts very quickly. Generally, people hear from unauthorized persons. Such unauthorized persons may be very learned by academic qualifications, but because they do not follow the principles of devotional service, hearing from them becomes a sheer waste of time. Sometimes texts are interpreted fashionable to suit their own purposes. Therefore, first one should select a competent and bona fide speaker and then hear from him. When the hearing process is perfect and complete, the other processes become automatically perfect in their own way. There are different transcendental activities of the Lord, and each and every one of them is competent to bestow the desired result, provided the hearing process is perfect. In the Bhagavatam, the activities of the Lord begin from dealings with the Pandavas. There are many, sorry, there are many other pastimes of the Lord in connection with his dealings with the Asuras and others. And in the 10 canto of the sublime, dealings with the conjugal associates, the gopis, as well as with his married wives at Dwaraka, are mentioned. Since the Lord is absolute, there is no difference in the transcendental nature of each and every dealing of the Lord. But sometimes people in unauthorized hearing process take more interest in hearing about his dealings with the gopis. Such an inclination indicates the lasting feelings of the hearer. So a bona fide speaker of the dealings of the Lord never indulges in such hearing. One must hear about the Lord from the very beginning, as in the Srimad Bhagavatam or any other scriptures, and that will help the hearer attain perfection by progressive development. One should not therefore consider that his dealings with the Pandavas are less important than his dealings with the gopis. We must always remember that the Lord is always transcendental to all mundane attachment. In all the above mentioned dealings of the Lord, he is a hero in all circumstances, and hearing about him or about his devotees or combatants is conducive to spiritual life. It is said that the Vedas and the Puranas, etc., are all made to revive our lost relation with him. Hearing of these scriptures is essential. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumitam Jena Tasmai Shri Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Prabhupada and his purports. So this verse had a long purport. I didn't really realize. But anyway, Queen Kunti here is offering prayers to the Lord. She's saying that, O Krishna, those who continuously hear, chant, and repeat your transcendental activities or take pleasure in others doing so certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. Very, very beautiful statement. So this is how Queen Kunti realized the importance of hearing and repeating the glories of the Lord. So today, since it is the Holy Name Week, I was asked to share the glories of the Holy Name with our assembly of devotees here in Nairobi. This is very, very important because this is our main business. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Kevalam, Kaluna Stevana Steva Gatir Anyata. In this age of Kali, there is no other way except the chanting of the holy name. There are many, many methods that were given in different ages, but in Kali Yuga, this is the method recommended. So sometimes people get confused as to why we put so much importance in chanting the holy name Krishna. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave an answer to this. He says that the holy name Krishna is the Lord's eternal name, and this name is a name that attracts everyone toward his ecstatic love. And this name reveals that, or it reveals Krishna's supreme existence. Yes. And he says that there is no prayer in this name. When you chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, there is no mention of prayer. There is no mention of attaining liberation or moksha. But this name, its symbol reveals to us the holy name of Krishna. The mantra, the Hare Krishna mantra, symbol reveals to us that the jiva, or the living entity, has what is called indescribable attraction for the super soul by the thread of love. That is how Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur described the importance of the holy name. That this is the eternal name of the Lord, and this name, Krishna, is so potent that it reveals the Lord's existence to us. So there are different attributes of the holy name according to our teachers, or according to our Vaishnava wisdom. According to the acharyas, the holy name of Krishna has extraordinary spiritual potency. Why? Because the name of God is not different from God himself. Prabhupada always stressed this point, that the name of Krishna is not different from the Lord himself. And Prabhupada gives the example that in the material world, in our material experiences, or in material sense, the name is different from the form. It's different. It says that language is merely representative, that is symbolic. Or in other words, in the material world, like we may, if we are thirsty, you may chant the name Lassi, Lassi, but you're not going to quench your thirst. Or you may call upon charge, charge, charge. You cannot really quench your thirst by calling the name charge, charge, until you get your lips to the charge itself. So that's an example of what it gives. That, but this is not the case with the name and the Lord himself. They are identical. So therefore, by chanting the holy name of the Lord, the reciprocation is there. That is also given by Krishna himself. This understanding is given by the Lord in the Mahabharata. There the Lord explains that I'm eternally indebted to Draupadi. When she was calling for me, I was at Dwarka, and she was calling for Krishna, Hey Govinda, at Hastinapur during her tribulations, when she was tested by Dushasana. But the Lord at Dwarka heard her calling and made the arrangement. What was that arrangement? Was that her sari or whatever dress she was wearing as Dushana was pulling, it became multiplied to the point where Dushana became exhausted, pulling and pulling. So what was her connection? Was calling upon the name of the Lord, Her Govinda. So that example is given in the Mahabharata. So just like we may call the name of our beloved, Prabhupada example, but this name will not invoke the full presence of that beloved. But when we call upon the name of the Lord, this name invokes the full presence of the Lord. So Krishna self-manifests within his sound, in his sound incarnation. Krishna incarnate as a sound incarnation in the form of his holy name. In Shikshastra, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he prays, my Lord, your holy name, in your holy name, there is all good fortune. There is all good fortune for the living entity. And therefore, you have many names, such as Krishna and Govinda. This is how one problem. And within this name, you have invested all your potencies. He says that you expand yourself and you invest all your potencies in those names. Nam Nam Kari Bahuda Nija Sarvasha. This is Mahaprabhu's realization. And then in the Padma Purana also it explains that the holy name of Krishna is transcendently beautiful. It's transcendently blissful. Yes, of course, it's always beautiful, but also says it's transcendently blissful. Why? Because it bestows all spiritual benedictions, for it is Krishna himself. This is what Padma Purana says. It is Krishna himself, the reservoir of all pleasure. So it is not material name under any condition. In other words, it's not under the jurisdiction of the three modes of material nature. The holy name of the Lord is always transcendental. That's the explanation in the Padma Purana. So we'll just share with you some stories here of the holy name, how the holy name works, how the holy name has been blessing different personalities. Like we know that Gajendra was in crisis, and then somehow or other he realized that he had no way out of the jaws of the crocodile, and then he offered prayers. We know that the holy name also saved Prahlad when he was attacked by different demons who were instructed by Hiranyakashipu to destroy him. And Prahlad Maharaj, he kept on chanting the name of the Lord, and he was unfazed. And there's so many devotees this way. Draupadi was one of them, also who was saved by the name Her Govinda. So there are different stories also about of the holy name in the Puranas. So one particular story, holy name story, it illustrates how the holy name of Krishna work silently in our lives without us knowing the holy name works. So this story goes like this. There was one old man. He lived on a farm in the mountainous area with his young grandson. Every morning, this old man used to chant japa. And then after finishing japa, and he would read a verse from the Bhagavad Gita and then have breakfast and go to the farm to engage in his farming work. So his grandson, seeing the sadhana of his grandfather, he had a desire to be like him. He wanted to emulate his grandfather. And in every way, he wanted to imitate the activities of his grandfather. So then, as he was imitating the reading of his grandfather and the chanting, he realized actually nothing was happening. He was not feeling the bliss that his grandfather was feeling. And then one day, the grandson asked his grandfather, he said, I tried to chant and read the Bhagavad Gita, just like you, but I don't understand it. I've been reading this Bhagavad Gita, but I don't understand it. That understanding is not really coming. What's the problem? Why am I not getting the understanding? What good does the chanting of the holy name and reading the Bhagavad Gita do? Because I'm not feeling anything. So my grandfather quietly turned from, at that time when he spoke to the grandfather, he was busy loading the coal into the coal stove. So when he had this boy complaining how he was not experiencing any bliss from chanting and reading Bhagavad Gita, he turned around and told him, take this coal basket down to the river and then fill it with water and bring it back here. And then the boy immediately did as he was instructed. He took this, coal basket, which was like, which had been used for this coal, has become blackened by coal. And then he rushed to the river, and then he tried to fetch the water. And then he walked back. After fetching water, he walked back to the house. By the time he reached the house, the basket was empty. Water was just leaking out of the way. And then the grandfather just laughed and said, you have to move a little faster so that you can get water to the house. So the boy went down to the river again. He fetched the water with the coal basket. Basket is made from grass, or some of them are made from the bamboo cane. It's like a net. You can't really contain any water there except maybe a few drops. So the boy went down again with the basket, fetched the water, and he came back fast, but still the water leaked away while he was running the house. So this time the boy became very, very frustrated. and he was just out of bread. And he told his grandfather that was this idea of fetching water with a basket is impossible. I've been trying. And then immediately, instead, he took a bucket. When he was going out of the room, the old man stopped and he said, "No, you do not understand me. I didn't ask you for a bucket of water. I have asked you for a basket of water. You take the same basket, go up and fetch water. You just have to be more faster." So the boy went down to the river. He scooped the water. He fetched the water with his basket and tried to run as fast as he could, but still the water was just leaking before he could get into the house. So this went on. The old man will encourage him, and finally, the the boy said, "Look, I've been trying, but the water is always leaking. It's not possible to fetch water with this basket." So then the old man at last told him, because the boy was complaining that it is useless. We cannot fetch water with the basket. The old man said, "Look at the basket itself. Just look at it." So when the boy looked at the basket, he realized as he was fetching water, as the water was washing away from the basket, the basket was becoming more and more cleaner and cleaner and cleaner. When he looked at it, it was clean inside and outside. So then the old man told him, just as this basket has become clean from you fetching water, that's what happened when you chant the holy name. That he said that you might not understand or you may not remember everything when you read the Bhagavad Gita. But inside the Chaitya Darpana Majanam, the cleansing process is happening. You don't have to see it. So just as this basket has become clean due to your effort of fetching water with it, in a similar way, the chanting of the holy name worked miraculously. In that way, Lord Krishna cleanses Abhadrani Virunati Suriti Satam within the heart of someone who is eager to chant his glories and hear his messages. So in that way, the boy understood the message, that even though he was not feeling any bliss, but the cleansing process was taking place. So another story of the holy name is the story of one old man who had a desire for Japamala at the time of death. He was dying. While he was lying on his deathbed, he remembered seeing the sadhus chanting Japamala, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is a story from the Puranas. So this old man was addicted to all kinds of sinful activity. And he was a very cruel person. He used to rob people and sometimes kill people. But when he was on his deathbed, at last minute, he had a change of heart as he was near death. And then he called for his servant and said that first he thought, I've been seeing people chanting Hare Krishna. I've been seeing devotees chanting Hare Krishna. Well, why not try it yourself? All my life I've seen these Vaishnavas chanting Hare Krishna. I'm gonna die anyway. At least I should also try to chant as well. I may just try it with these few days I still have on my side. So then he told his servant, you go to the market and get me a japa mala. And then the servant was wondering, what are you going to do with the japa mala? He explained that I always see devotees chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra on those malas. I want to try it out. His servant was surprised because this man, he was a big gunda. He was not going to the temples or attending any spiritual gathering, but he was just a criminal. He was wondering, but his heart had changed. And he explained to him, I'm going to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra on those beads. Please go to the market and get me a set of beads. But unfortunately, the old man died before the servant could return. He died before the servant returned from the market with his mala. So when the servant came back, the man was dead, while waiting eagerly to receive his japamala and start chanting. So then, as you all know, that when such souls leave, the Yamadutas immediately come. So Yamadutas came because he was on the list. He was listed in the books of Yamaraj. So they know, they always calculate, okay, this one has been committing so many crimes. Now, let's go and pick him up. So the Yamadutas immediately came. But when they came, they were surprised to find that the Vishnu Dutas also arrived. Right as they were arriving, the Yamadutas also arrived on the spot. So the Yamadutas were amazed. What these guys? What are you guys doing here? You Yamadutas, why are you here? This man was a very sinful person. He never did any pious activity. There is nothing in his record to show that he did anything pious or spiritual. So what are you doing here? Why have you come here? Because this man belonged to us. The Vishnu just simply smiled and replied that we have come to take this man back home, back to God. Simply because he had a desire to chant Hare Krishna. You are saying he didn't do anything transcendental or spiritual. Before this man left his body, his heart had changed. He was patiently and eagerly waiting for his japa to come. So just by his desire to chant the holy name, they became purified from all the sins in the books of your master Yamaraj. Therefore, he is qualified to go back home, back to Vaikuntha. Beautiful story. Just by desiring to chant the holy name, this man can free from all his path and he can fit to go to Vaikuntha. Now, what is the moral of this story? The moral of the story is that even namabas, which is a contaminated stage of chanting the holy name, this namabas, or the initial stage of chanting, is so powerful. Is so powerful. If this namabas is so powerful, then what to speak of Sudanam, or devotees who are chanting the pure name? This man was not a devotee, but in the end of his life, he thought, I've seen the devotees chanting. Maybe it would be good for me to try to chant. There is no loss. I'm going to die anyway. Let me do something that is spiritual. Let me chant japa. Before his japamala could come, unfortunately, he died, but still there was a benefit. So that is the power of the holy name. And so many stories like that in the Puranas, how the holy name is full of the potencies of all the energies of the Supreme Personality of God, as Mahaprabhu proclaims in the Shikshashtaka. That is Chetu Darpanam Mahajanam. This holy name is a cleansing ocean, Anandambudi Varnanam. It is very purifying. But Mahaprabhu says, unfortunately, I do not have the attraction for such names. I say attraction, but the holy names are very powerful. Just like another story, a Vaishnava story, how in one ashram in Vrindavan, one disciple asked his guru, what is the highest of all bhajans? Guru Maharaj. His guru told him the highest of all bhajan is the chanting of the Hare of this Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And then the disciple was thinking, oh, that's the highest bhajan, yes. So then one day, the same disciple had to go to do his shopping in Loy Bazaar area. So as he was traveling, he passed some village girls who were making cow dung patties. They were mixing cow dung patties. Even if you go around in Vrindavan, you'll find young ladies also making cow dung patties, hanging them on the walls or tree trunks to dry up for fuel. And they were chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, while mixing cow dung, making it into cow dung cakes. He thought, my guru, he said, this is the highest bhajan, but even these village girls chanting it. And then he continued on his way. As he was passing near the river Jamuna, he noticed that some ladies were beating the cloth on a rock while chanting Hare Krishna. He became even more doubtful. Even the laundry people are just chanting Hare Krishna while beating the cloth. It can't be the highest of all bhajans. And then finally, he got to the market, he bought all the sabjis and other things, and then he needed a rickshaw to take him back to the ashram. So he got on the rickshaw with his groceries, and then the rickshawala immediately started the journey back to the ashram. As he was pedaling on his rickshaw, he was chanting Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. He thought, my God, even this rickshawala is chanting this Maha Mantra while pedaling on his cycle. But my Guru told me this is the most confidential and very sublime bhajan, chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. It can't be. He became even more anxious to challenge this suggestion by his Guru. Immediately when he got to the ashram, he went straight to his Guru and said, Guru Maharaj, it can't be. This Mahamantra can't be the highest of all bhajan. It cannot be the secret of all bhajans. When I was going to do my shopping, I passed the local village girls mixing the cow dung, making cow dung patties. They were chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And then furthermore, I met the Dopiwalas doing their washing in the Jamuna. They were also chanting. When I was coming back, the Rishawala who brought me here, while pedaling on his rickshaw, he was also chanting the Hare Krishna. Oh, the Guru said, oh, really? I said, yes. But you said that this mantra is the supreme bhajan. How is it that the rickshaw is chanting it? The Dopiwalas, while washing, they are chanting this mantra. And the girls mixing cow dung, they are also chanting this mantra. How possible is that? So the Guru said, okay, take this gemstone. It was unpolished, still very rough gemstone. You go and sell this gemstone to those village girls. Show it to them. See if they will be interested. And then you can go to the Dopiwalas also and just try to sell them this gemstone. And to the same rickshaw who brought you here, just show him also this gemstone and ask him to buy it. And then see what would be the response. So the disciple did exactly. He first went and met these cowhead girls who were mixing the cow dung, making cow dung patties. Say, this is my Guru Maharaj instructed me to show you this gemstone and see if you can buy it. If you are interested, you can purchase this from Gurudev. They looked at it. They said, yes, this gemstone is very rough. It's of no value. It will be just good for mixing cow dung. And the man was shocked. That's how useless it is to you, that you see it fit just for mixing cow dung, yes. And then he went to meet the Dhopi Wallas on the bank of the river Jamuna. He showed these Dhopi Wallas washing. He said, my Gurudev instructed me to come and show you this gemstone. See if you can purchase it. So the Dhopi Wallas also looked at it and said, it's not worth anything. It's just good for doing some, household work. Like we are beating the cloth here. It's just a useless gemstone. Not really gemstone. And then he went on to meet the same rickshaw who took him to the temple before, and he showed him the same gemstone. This rickshaw, he said, why are you selling this thing? It's useless. Actually, it's so rough that it will be good for scraping my feet while bathing. So then he went back to the ashram and told the Guru what was the response from these people. And then the Guru told him that I did this experiment to make you understand the importance of the holy name. These people may be chanting the Mahamantra, but they don't understand the value of the Mahamantra. That's why they told you that this gemstone is just rough stone. There's no value. Because they cannot see the inside of the stone. They are just seeing the surface, that it is unpolished. Because it is still unpolished, so they can't see the real value of this gemstone. So in a similar way, those who are interested in other activities in this world, who are not interested or attracted to bhakti, they will not understand the value of the holy name. So you say, his holy name is like that gemstone which cannot be perceived or which cannot be seen by the eyes of materially attached people. People are just interested in their mundane activities. They may chant, but they don't understand the value of the holy name. So in that way, even though they may not understand the value of the holy name, but the holy name still purifies them. Yes. So that way, this is Chintamani, Kolokera Pemadam Harinam. So this Narottam Das Thakur, he says, Golokera Premadam Harinam Sankitam. Rati nahi janilo ke tai samsara vishare diba nisi ihaja jurate nako. That's the treasure of love of God. This treasure of love of God has descended from the spiritual world, Goloka Vrindavan, appearing in this world as Sankirtan movement. And he says that why I'm not attracted. Day and night I burn from the poison of material existence, but I, says, still refuse to take the antidote. This is not a downcast. So in that way, the holy name of the Lord is descending from the spiritual realm of Goloka Vrindavan. Golokera Premadam. Harinam Sankirtan. But mundane people, they don't understand it. So in that way, by the mercy of the devotees, they may get to understand, and they will be amazed how this holiness is the remedy for all diseases of this world. Whether we are in happiness, we just simply chant the holy name. When we are in distress, according to Bhakti, we just chant the holy name. And then eventually everything will come right. So that is the benediction and mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the master who have given us this Yugadam, the chanting of the Hare Krishna. It's very, very, very beautiful and it's very special. So when we take to it, that will also help all those people around us to awaken their spiritual inclinations, and also they can awaken their attraction for the lotus feet of Sri Krishna Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, just by chanting the holy name, even though they may chant unknowing, but they will develop attraction for the devotees, and they will also develop attraction for the holy. Just like Srila Prabhupada in America, Prabhupada explains that actually he did not have qualifications, but he says that if there is any credit to be given to me, is that I had faith in the Holy Name. Number two, I had faith in the instructions of my Lord. These are two things. So when Prabhupada came to America, he didn't have any steady place to stay. He was living there and there. But the thing that he did, he engaged those young American hippies in chanting the Holy, chanting Hare Krishna. As a result of that, even though we were registered as the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and we became known as the Hare Krishna movement because of the chanting the Holy. So all over the world, people know this movement as the Hare Krishna movement. What? Because of the chanting of the Holy by Srila Prabhupada and also his followers. So in that way, Srila Prabhupada, the Acharyas, going back to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they've stressed this holy name as the medicine of the remedy to all the problems this world. And it's true. The holy name is still curing so many. So therefore, we request everyone to take advantage of this Holy Name Week and chant the Holy Name and be blessed by the mercy of the Lord and Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So with these few words, I will request to end here and see if there are any questions that we can take. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Shira Prabhupada ki, Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki.
Yes.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Maharaj, for your valuable lessons on the glories of the holy name. Very practical stories you told us that can make us relate with the small intelligence we have. So thank you very much, Maharaj. So if anyone has any questions, you may kindly unmute yourself and ask.
mix Rariata continually. Echo, yeah.
Okay. Seems like we don't. So
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Prabhu, can I ask question?
yes,
Hare Krishna
please.
Maharaj.
Hare
Hare Krishna Maharaj. How are you, Maharaj?
I'm good.
Okay, nice to see you, Maharaj. Maharaj, my question is that, there are so many benefits of the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra.
Yes.
And, but still, people leave and they don't develop the interest in Maha Mantra. What is the reason behind that?
Because they don't understand the value of the Maha Mantra. They just simply think that it's just like any other chant. Om Namo Shivaya, Om Namo Ganeshaya. They have so many mantras. And they think that the Hare Krishna is one of them. They don't understand the speciality of this mantra, that it is the Yuga Dharma, the religion of this age. So that they don't understand, they think that it's just one of the mantras. It's just like many people, they don't understand Krishna. They think that it's just one of the many gods. Or he's just one of those personalities in the hierarchy. So because they have not been exposed to Srimad Bhagavatam and many other literatures that explains the importance of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, so they don't understand. So that's the problem. It's just lack of knowledge about the holy name. But after reading Srila Prabhupada's books, you get to know the importance of the holy name. Okay, thank you very much for the nice question.
Yes, Maharaj, one more question.
Yes.
Maharaj, Corona is spreading so fast across the world. I mean, every country, every village, every place have a Corona now. Why the Hare Krishna mantra is taking time to reach the villages and all the places?
Why the Maha Mantra is taking time to cure Corona?
Yes. No, not cure, Maharaj. Why is taking time to reach to the villages, reach every place in the world?
Because there are many villages, we are just a few devotees. We don't have many devotees, just like here in Kenya. How many devotees we have? Hare Krishna devotees, maybe 300 or 400. And out of that 300 or 400, not many people are full-time devotees to go every day out to every village and every town. So we don't have many devotees as yet to reach out to Kakamega, Kitale, Turkana, and many other places, Machakos. Our concentration is here in Nairobi. So we need to go out to those places, but we don't have manpower as yet.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Pranari Prabhu, for your question. Thank you very much, devotees, for joining us. And we thank Maharaj for this wonderful class, and we'll be hearing from him often since he is here in Nairobi now, and he'll be with us here. So now I'll request everyone to kindly unmute yourselves so we can appreciate Maharaj by chanting the holy name of Krishna.
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Ram Ram,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
His Holiness Bhakti Narsimha Maharaj ki jai,
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Oh, Premanandi.
Hari Hari Bol.
Alama is in Eldoret. Huh? Yes.